Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special edition of Calcio with Reno Z. And it's a great honor to have back Mr. Richard from Serie A Sitdown. How's it going, my friend?
It's going well, my friend. It's going well. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty excited about tonight because, lots going on in Serie A in the culture world. Of course, your lovely Milan. We're going to talk about your lovely Milan. Not a problem. I know tonight I'm not gonna hear the end of it with you, you Milanisti.
I'll
Before
be
we get
good.
things, oh yeah, it'll be good. I have lots to talk about Milan. Then, of course, my lovely Juventus, which I'm not really happy about it. So, before anything, guys, put a like and subscribe. Then, of course, go check it out. Serie A Sit Down, where Richard and his paisano Frank do a wonderful job every Tuesdays, right, Richard?
Every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes,
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Vancouver time, just to specify.
that's right.
So we have some people on the chat. Let's start with the great man himself. Anthony, how's it going? Grande. Then, of course, yourself. Then a big Milan fan himself, Mr. Roberto Cabron. We have to give him a nice applause. We'll get to Milan, don't worry. Then Anthony, of course, happy with the big win with Milan.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with Serie A, then, of course, Champions League. Then we'll get into the Europa League. So, what are your thoughts about this mix? Let's start with the Serie A. I'm pretty sure you already talked about it. Roma and Inter Milan,
Yeah.
4-2 for Inter. And at the same time, I give credit to De Rossi because this is a different. Well, at this moment, it seems pretty good because if it was Mourinho, they would probably lose a little bit worse. But
Yeah.
the guys managed. Nice goal from Mancini, El Sharai. Then with Inter, of course, we can say nothing with this as much
Yeah.
as everybody knows. I don't like that team, but they're on fire, especially that Marcus Thuram.
Oh
Like
man.
I keep on saying, every time that guy touches the ball, it's just like attenzione, danger zone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and then the last, well, Acerbi scored the first goal. Then the last goal, Bastoni, which he hasn't been scoring for a while. So they're still on top. They have one game at hand. Now, next week, they're going to go against Atletico Madrid. It's going to be tough, but I don't see these guys dropping points like we seen last year. What are your thoughts, Richard?
No, this team is super impressive. I think Inzaghi and Inter are on a mission this year. It shows from the beginning. This team is just complete. From the goalkeeper, they got a fantastic goalkeeper over the summertime. Everyone thought, losing Onana was gonna be big. How they're gonna fill his shoes. Inter did a great job hiring or signing Jan Sommer that not many people outside of Serie A knew about. Or not too many people outside of Bundesliga knew about. Excuse me. I knew him. I knew him very
Mhm.
well. I knew he was a great goalkeeper from the beginning. So great to see that. And then defense is fantastic as it always has been in the last couple of years, and it's gotten better this year. Midfield is just fantastic. That's like the best part of their team is the midfield because they're so strong from the
Oh,
left
yeah.
to the right, everything, right? And Chalanolo
They're,
coming to a new level this year, and then of course Lautaro and Marcus Thuram. This team is just so good, and they can play many different ways, right? We see, the Napolis, the Milans, even Juventus. They play typically one way and maybe a plan B, plan A, plan B. Inter plays so many different ways, can play with anybody, and they always seem like they're the best team no matter which way they play. And it's hard to watch if you're not a fan of the Interisti, right? But
yeah, I know,
especially
especially.
for us both. But you gotta
Yeah.
give them credit. They are one of the best teams in Europe this year, and it's just been fantastic to watch from a neutral standpoint. Except when they play against, obviously they beat my team 5-1 early this year already, so I did
I
forget
know.
that,
Then
and they
they
beat
beat
you guys
us.
as well. So
Yeah,
they're
one
just good.
zero.
They're good, and it's gonna be hard against Athletic, a defensive team, but I think it's gonna be still advantage Inter. It's hard not to say that.
Yes. Well, it's sad to say. It even hurts my chest by saying that Inter's a good team. But for me, they're not going to drop points. And Inzaghi, 3 years he's there. well, as for now, he's been learning his mistakes. He hasn't been doing, big mistakes like last year, doing these crazy changes, and
Yeah.
so we'll see after Champions League. But I don't think they're gonna drop big points
No, no,
like last year.
no.
So
Exactly, exactly. Everyone's dropping points, but Inter.
yeah, you think they're the winners from the for the Scudetto?
Yeah, yeah. Frank and I talked about it this week and even last week, especially last week. I was like, they're the winners. I mean, it's hard not to choose them. And when they won the Derby d'Italia, that was enough proof for me that they're going to win. They're not going to drop points, like you said. I think Juve and Milan and everybody else will drop points here and there, but Inter is just
But
so damn good. Anything can
I
happen though.
know anything could happen because Milan, these last three games, they've been good. Even today's game, who knows? Do you think they could manage? Because Roberto thinks that Milan might have a chance recuperate Juve and Inter, but anything can happen. I find it hard, my
Yeah,
opinion.
I mean, if Lazio can win yesterday, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to Lazio after. We'll see. Which I understand a Milanista point of view because at the beginning they were dropping points. Now it seems like slowly they're getting back on track.
Yeah.
Because speaking of Milan Napoli, they win against Napoli 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it wasn't too convincing this win, but I'm pretty sure tell me a win is a win. They managed that one goal. But well, that game wasn't really too happy with Leo. Um, Giroud 50-50. But Napoli, the other hand, they are irreconcilable. Like you can't you can't believe that these guys went the Scudetto last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then
I
it's
think
sad.
it's interesting because like from the goal scoring perspective, yes, it's not the same team as last year. Last year, everybody was scoring goals. Obviously, Victor Osimhen and Havarashelia, but everyone else on the team was contributing last year. This year, it seems like nobody can score. Yeah, Victor Osimhen still gets his goals, but Cavara's having trouble this year. Politano, Zelensky. They don't even like Zelensky anymore, right? You got Labotka and Glisa. Like nobody can really score goals this year. That's the problem. And
Yeah.
yeah, they have all this possession, and they still look make it tough for teams. Like when you're playing against Milan, in this game, it was close because Napoli still do a good job possessing the ball. They can create chances, but they can't finish them. They can't score. So that's the big problem with them is that this title defense is the worst in Serie A history because they just can't find a way to score goals. The opposition can. Their defense is worse than last year, right? No Kim Min Jae. Obviously, the defense they have now is not as good as it was last year.
No, really
It's just
bad.
they're struggling, and it's hard to see. But they don't get they're good enough that they stay in games and make it tight. They don't get blown away, but they just can't find that scoring touch. And all you need to beat them is one or two goals, and it's done. And that's all Milan needed. They needed a goal from Teo Hernandez, and that was it, right?
That was it. Yeah, they managed to control the game, Milan. So, but Napoli, the other hand, totally zero. Like Roberto is saying, he's a big Milan. King himself, Ibrahimovic, the Lion, changed this team around his present legend. Was a huge boost for Milan.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that,
I
Richard?
think I, for me, obviously Pioli is the guy who's the main guy, but I think a guy like Ibrahimovic is so important. The one reason they won a Scudetto 2 years ago is because Ibrahimovic, his presence in the locker room, him, Simon Kjaer, those kind of guys, plus obviously Pioli, they can calm the youngsters, bring up their potential. He can keep all the egos in check. That's a big thing because big ego like Leao or a Giroud or even Teo Hernandez and Mike Magnon, they're big egos. And you need someone who
Yeah,
is strong that can kind of control them, put them in their place, put them in perspective. Legends like Ibrahimovic can come in, a Zidane when he manages Real Madrid or Carlo Ancelotti. Those guys they can handle egos. When you see these big guys, these big figures, you're like, okay, I know my place in Serie A history or football history, and so he does help with that, right? Having him around in practice and stuff like that, you realize, okay, this guy knows what he's talking. Let me listen to him. Maybe I'll learn from him. So I think
yeah,
it does help absolutely.
yeah. It does. What do you think about Pioli? Because there was a lot of Pioli out. Do you think Still give him another chance. It might
So
change things around.
no, I think Pioli's time at Milan has been a really good success. Yes, has it had his downs? Absolutely. There's been ups and downs, right? It's never been consistent like in European games, even in big games. Sometimes they do really well, and sometimes you like the Inter derby, terrible, right? And you can never know what's going to happen. But I think overall it's been a success. I think though, right now I still love him. I'm still in favor of him. However, I
Yes.
think come the summertime he should go. Not this season. This season he needs to stay the entire season, see the whole
Yeah,
season out.
I agree with
If
you.
some way he wins Europa League, finishes in second place, and has a fantastic end to the season, we can talk about it. But for me, I think his time is done with Milan. But let him finish the season. Everyone who wanted Pioli out early in the season, look at Napoli. They clamored about
Mm.
Rudy Garcia. They got Mazzari now, and what are they doing? They're still struggling. It doesn't help. Managerial change doesn't always help in the middle of the season. End of the season,
Hang
you bring a new manager in. They can start the team fresh in the summertime practice, good training camp, and then start over. That's fine. But in the middle of the season, it's so difficult. Very few managers come in the middle of the season and had been successful. So I'm Pioli in for the rest of the season, and then I'm ready to see
Then
him
we'll
go.
see next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think Conde might be the guy, Paladino,
Um,
in
I
next season?
I hope not Conte. I love Conte. I
Mm.
think he's a fantastic manager, and absolutely one of the best Italian managers. I don't like his style with Milan. I don't. It's too much upheaval. It's short-term success, but
Yeah,
it doesn't solve a long-term problem. I would rather find like a Palladino would be great. Vincenzo Italiano is great. Obviously, Roberto Di Zerbi would be great. Something that's more long-term versus Conte. Yeah, you're gonna have success immediately, but who knows what the team's gonna happen? He's gonna sell players, bring his own players in. Milan have a fabric now that Maldini has built before he
yeah, you
left,
want to keep it that
and
way.
they're continuing on with that, right? And I'm not a fan of him coming to my team, but I do think he's a fantastic manager. There's nothing against him. I just don't think he's the right fit for us.
I see. Well, we're gonna hear a lot about in the summer,
Thiago
especially.
Motta as well. Thiago Motta is another one I would like.
Yes, Thiago Motta. Hey,
Yeah,
Thiago Motta. He's gonna come to Juventus. That guy non si tocca.
Allegri's not leaving. Allegri's not leaving. You watch.
We'll talk about it. I have a feeling he will. Give a shout out to Serie podcast. He's from uh, Australia. Milan had a big win
Oh,
turnover in players. Season takes time. He's a big Lazio fan. Don't worry, Fratello. I'll talk about Lazio. Talking about coaches, like I agree your point, not getting rid of the coaches at this moment.
yeah.
Now, going to Juventus, 1-0-1 for Udinese. Okay, I know everybody sit there talking about get rid of Allegri right now. I don't like the idea too. Like let's not hope that we lose with Verona. All I care about finish the season,
Yeah.
and like I said and I repeat to all my fellow paisans out there, Allegri ain't staying because if he doesn't renew his contract, my friend, I don't see him staying. But besides that, we can get that a little bit because I talked a lot about too much about the Liga. I don't. But this game, okay, guys at the chat, let it out. Either you're Juventino, Milanista, I don't care because I'm pretty pissed off about this game. Wasn't too pissed off, but this is unacceptable in my hand. You know, we see Milan that they were struggling, and now pretty much they went on top.
Yeah.
But now, by time with them, I was like, okay, losing to Inter, which Inter, they're a top team, like they play very well, like they play by memory whatsoever. We weren't better than we were sleeping, like going back. But mannaggia la misera against Udinese. Just that one goal, thanks to Alexandro. And the team still. Then, of course, Allegri put these wrong positions. Why he puts Alexandro? He should have put Rugani, man. And then this back-to-back, calma, calma. Oh, la same filastrocca that never ends, which I hope it's the. I know you're laughing because you know where I'm going to go with this. But no, because I had this. Yes, we all were happy about the 6-0, 3-0. Even the wife was happy against Lecce. But then after that, The wife looks at me, Reno, this is the caca. Well, it is what it is. We gotta ask our boy Allegra. I don't know. What are your thoughts about this game?
Um, First, I'm gonna say my hot take is gonna be Allegri and renews until 2026. That's just my hot take. But
Yeah,
to
of
this game,
course, of course.
but to me, this game, I don't think it was as bad. Yes, the scoreline 1-0. You guys lost. It's terrible. I don't think you guys played as bad as you think you did. I think what really is the difference in this game, you ran into a hot goaltender in Okoye who was just a wall. And sometimes this happens in the league where you are the better team. I thought Juventus were the better team in this game. You played, yes, Udinese played very well disciplined defensively. They shut it down when they had a chance, but Okoye was fantastic in my opinion. It feels like he had 20 saves. Maybe it wasn't that much, but he was just really good. Made the big saves when they needed to. And sometimes you run into a goalkeeper. I mean, I know Milan when we played, who was a couple years ago. Maybe it was Lecce. I forget who it was, and someone from last year. Anyway, you run into good goalkeepers and you just can't score on them no matter what. And this season, for Monza, Di Gregorio's had some big games. Montipo's had big games. Turati's had some big games. Sometimes goalkeepers just stand on their head and you can't do anything, and you maybe get a draw or you lose. And I think in this situation, Juventus ran into a goalkeeper that was on fire. Maybe he was inspired by his team being in the AFCON finals. I don't know, but he just played really well, and you got to give kudos to the goalkeeper and Udinese. Um, I think Juve created the chances. They just couldn't finish. That was the big thing, and that's obviously disappointing. But I feel like they any other day they would have won 4-0. Pardon my French, but yeah,
No, it's
it's just one of
okay.
those days. It's just one of those days, you know.
I know, because last time we beat them 3-0. And, I don't want to sit to blame the coach. Those people think I'm an anti-Allegriano, which I'm not. But the players, I tell you right now, when I say bad things about players, I say it. Look, I tell you, it was a bum. Chiesa, I'm sorry. Like, I love the guy, but he's not all
He's not the
like.
same. He's not the same. Yeah.
No, I know he's frustrated. You can tell that game he was a little bit selfish too. Like, he really pissed me off that day. And those shoots that he was doing, like, what are you doing? He was hitting like a little girl. Same with Rabiot. Like, Rabiot, get rid of him. I'm sick of her about Rabiot. But we have some. I think the mid-table teams
Salerno,
are.
thank you. Salerno, thank you.
Can I ask who created all those
Ochoa's.
chances? Uh Severino, don't start with me. When there's criticized with Chiesa, there's criticized. Don't start Severino. He's one of my paisans. He's saying stop. Yeah. Uh, what are your thoughts about Chiesa? Like, I know I'm a bigger Chiesa fan myself, but we have
Sure,
to
me
be
too. Yeah.
realistic. You know.
He's not the same player since his injury. During the Euros, he was one of the best players in the world that tournament. Fantastic player. He is that X factor that not many people have right on their team. But it just seems like after his injury, he's not he's a shell of himself. He has moments where he's like, oh, look at this brilliant play or a couple plays, but then he disappears again and it's been quiet and it's not the same player. Everyone's talking about who's the best left winger, and Chiesa is always in the discussion. But this year, it just seems like he's off of something, and a lot of it could be Allegri, right? He did succeed
Yes, that's
under
what I
Allegri
say.
originally, but he struggles, and that's why it's confusing because the last time he succeeded was under Allegri, and he's not doing it right now. And it very well could be a new manager comes in, and he returns to what we remember him of. But for the time being, he's good occasionally, but it's missing something. It's missing and you can see the whole team is missing something. Honestly,
Yes, their brain is not 100%. Or maybe they're frustrated with the coach whatsoever. Maybe Chiesa, since he got engaged, he just dropped, I guess. I don't know.
yeah.
But
Women,
to be honest, I feel bad because if he's going to leave at Liverpool in the summer for 20, 30 million, which I hope not, hope June somehow, some way tries to keep him, but it's not going to look pretty.
can you imagine in 2020 saying that Juventus are going to sell Chiesa for 20, 30 million to anybody? You would think you're crazy, especially after Euros. You'd be like 100 million minimum, but here we are. It's a different market, different time, So I
Well,
wouldn't do that deal, but it's Juventus. It's up to them and what they want to do. And
well, it's not for sure, but if he renews the contract, because he's on his extension, so maybe renew that contract for a year, then maybe see how he does the Euro, then you can sell him for 50, 60, maybe 70 to
yeah,
Liverpool. If he wants to leave in the Mercato, if he's not really happy with Juventus.
yeah, yeah.
So even Anthony says Chiesa for sure has not been the same. If he doesn't renew, then Junta should consider selling him. Well, we'll see what happens in the summer if we have a new coach coming along whatsoever. Maybe Jundri somehow can try to keep him.
Yeah, yeah.
Severin, I agree with you, but like I told you, we just have to wait and see what's happening because we're hearing the rumors about a new coach coming. Because Allegri, we don't know if he's going to stay for less money. Maybe if this Thiago Motta comes, or maybe Conte, maybe Chiesa must stay. I don't think Junta is that dumb to
Maybe you
get
get
rid of
Pioli.
him soon.
Maybe you get Pioli.
No, no, no. Pioli, no. No, thank you. Pioli
Rudy
for me is kind
Garcia.
of like Allegri. Like my wife's nonno said. Pioli è un coglione come Allegri. And he's a Milanista.
Hey, Rudy Garcia's available.
No, no, thank you. There's so much rumors. I know
Yeah,
Malta is the close one. We have to wait and
yeah,
see. But
yeah.
like I said, I even said to my fellow Juventini, if Conte comes, I don't care. I know a lot of Juventini don't want him, but I'm pretty sure if he comes, he will come for less. What I'm hearing, he will do his best to do better. So I'm not into leftovers, but we'll
Do you,
see.
do you does Juventus and do Juventini have the patience for Thiago Motta? Because we've been down this road before with Andrea Pirlo. Andrea Pirlo was, could have had a chance to become something. He had something. His only season with Juventus, he did well. Not good enough for Juventini, obviously, but I think he did well. Chiesa did well. Dybala did well under him, and nobody liked the fact that they weren't winning every game. They weren't winning Scudetto. He's like, he has to go. But now it's like 3 years later. You're still in the same boat as you were before. No trophies. If you had that patience, maybe he could have become something like Thiago Motta is doing at Bologna. There's no guarantee that Thiago Motta, wherever he goes, is going to have
Yeah.
instant success. He needs time to build a team as any manager would, right? And so, do you have patience? That's the key. And for a younger manager, I don't know if Juventini have that patience now. Maybe they do. You tell me.
Well, my thoughts on this, I said this yesterday at the Bianconeri zone. Whatever the decision is, either it's Thiago Motta or Conte, whatsoever, they gotta let them get the job done. Because these last 3, 4 years, let's say five, Juventus hasn't been improving in Champions League whatsoever. Uh, of course, I'm not gonna expect Thiago Motta come in, and he's gonna make wonders. You know what I mean? But all I care about is a team to be built, have a project, because Juventus don't have a project. They didn't have a project with Pirlo and Sarri. They did really bad choices. And just let the guy be. I'm all for it. Like for me, Klopp, Zidane, but are these guys going to come,
Yeah.
Richard? They're not going to spend
I
that
don't
kind
know.
of money.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think
So
so.
for me, uh, as your friend over here says, Pill's on fire, Pill's on fire. Yeah, then maybe in a month, Pill might be fired.
Hey, Roberto had a question about would I sell Liao and bring in players
Now,
like
so
Xerxes
yeah, then I
and
continue.
I
I'm
would
just looking at
say
the comment.
no. Now, obviously, if someone's offering 150 million plus, it's going to be hard for Cardinale to say no. But for me, I say no. I think Leao has world class talent. He can do things that nobody else can. Not many people can do with his change of pace. He's like a Vinicius Junior with his talent. I would not sell him. I would still bring in Xerxes. I would still try to bring in all this talent. Cardinale will bring in money, bring in players if he thinks it's worth it. But for me, Leao is almost a non-negotiable because I think he's that good. Him and Teo Hernandez on the left side, that's one of the best left-hand side of anybody in the world. You can compare with anybody just because of the talent they have. So I would say no, but sometimes money talks. Man
Yeah.
City come in with 200 million euro, it's gonna be hard to say no. But I wouldn't do it. I would want Xerxes, but not I don't want to sell Leao.
No, okay. Good point. Then to finish up about this coaching thing with, as Remo said, he thinks like me, Conte brings the Grinta juice. He
Yeah.
wants Allegri out, which is fine. But like I said, you're right about the Juventini. I know they right away they want to win trophies, but we got to be patient and we got to let things. So I know most of Juventini, especially in Italy, they're concerned they don't want to have a change. But if you keep Allegri for another year, which he won't stay for a year if he doesn't renew his contract, it could be worse. So what I say, take things by ear, you know, and let's go with the flow. Because I think whatever the decision is, it's going to be a good one. Because now we got Juntli. And last time we didn't have the Moto, we had Paratici, and Agnelli just
Yeah.
did a casino. So, and finish off with Juventus, I'm sorry to say, but Chiesa was always paired with a potential. Chiesa doesn't have that many goals for Italy. We only won one knockout game in Euros. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll see what he does in the next
Yeah.
chapter, which I think he will do good because those last two games, for me, he did good, but for other people, they always have to find excuse to defend Allegri.
Yeah.
Silvio, I agree with you, but I'm all for Thiago Motta, but if Conte comes, how you give Allegri a chance? Let's give Conte a chance. And you know, I don't like Ministri Scaldate. Guys, keep on putting these likes. Man, I only got 5 likes. Come on, let's get things rolling.
That's right.
And of course,
Like the video. Come on,
right.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. To finish up the Serie A section, then we'll go through Bologna and Fiorentina. Speaking of Motta, these last two games with Bologna was pretty impressive. I think the one before he went 4-2, but against Fiorentina 2-0. And the way that these guys play, I'm sorry for Fiorentina. They haven't been playing, you know, really good in my opinion. So, but Bologna, I watched it yesterday. I was pretty impressed. And that's where I come out through all the people, all the Italian journalists. Motte is a good coach. Motte Quam, I
Yeah.
try to give, which he did a good job. He's pretty good with changing players at the same time. You know, good movement. People say he's kind of like Allegri. I don't see that kind of like Allegri story. Don't you think, Richard?
No, no, I wouldn't. I would not compare him to Allegri there, but hey, everyone can decide who they want to, who they think, So
What are your thoughts about this Bologna Fiorentina?
yeah, I
Fiorentina,
mean,
I'm not really happy. I'm sorry for my Fiorentina, whoever is from Fiorentina, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, both teams did really well on the weekend. Before they both had like 4 or 5 goals each. It looked really good. Fiorentina and Bologna had struggled for a long time. They started now turning it around, and you got two teams in form who playing against each other. And what we saw is that it's disappointing for Fiorentina because you expect a lot more out of them. Vincenzo Italiano's been there for like what 3 years now. His team should be better prepared when they come up against Bologna. Yes, Bologna are difficult, but if you play well tactically, you should at least get a draw out of this match. And Bologna looks so good. I mean, Xerxes is fantastic. Everyone keeps talking about him every game. He just gets better and better. Everyone wants him at the moment. But Bologna, all their players are stepping up. Orsolini's having a fantastic year.
Oh, yeah. Mm,
Someone on Twitter, and I don't remember who it was, they compared Chiesa and Orsolini over the last 7 years or something like that. And Orsolini has more goals than Chiesa. And you don't
I
believe
don't
it.
know.
You look at the talent. Chiesa is much better talent, you would think, but Orsolini has been consistent. He's consistently getting 10, 12 goals a year, and so again, he's coming on his own under Thiago Motta. He's got an opportunity. Plus the other players, you got Lewis Ferguson. You got everyone on this team. Calcio Fiori get an opportunity. He's taking advantage of it. Obviously, Skorupski, who's a good goalkeeper, has been good goalkeeper for a long time. They're just playing well, and they're fighting for each other under Thiago Motta. And this is something that we expected out of Fiorentina and Vincenzo Italiano, and it's not happening. So maybe it's time for
Mm,
Fiorentina to move on from him in the summertime.
yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm thinking.
and Thiago Motta, you've got to give them credit. They had several losses in a row, bad performances, but now they've turned it around, and now they're starting to get back into what we saw at the beginning of the season. So maybe this team's for real. I don't know if they're top four, but they're for real. They're a European team. Absolutely, I think.
Yes, because funny enough, there are the same points with Atalanta, 42. So, like I said, with Alberto on his channel, the culture review, he does a culture review separate. I did say maybe surprisingly, Bologna might stay fourth place. Who knows?
Yeah,
Uh, I know we can never underestimate Atalanta because Atalanta, it's been a while they haven't been Champions League. But if you look at the top four, let's see, Lazio, Fiorentina, Roma, Bologna, and Atalanta are close to good fight.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's wait and see who will take that fourth spot.
yeah.
Roberto Cabrone, that basically reminds me of a young Ibrahimovic. Orsolini looks already good news for Italy as well for the right wing position. Well, let's hope he plays
Yeah.
with Italy
Hopefully
because he's
Spalletti's
young.
paying attention.
Well, I hope so. You know the Italian mentality because they're too young, right? So I only hope so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to finish off this, uh, let's get a quick run through to Lazio yesterday at the Champions League, which I
Mm,
forgot about Champions League. I missed Man City and Real Madrid because I always like to watch other teams, especially
yeah,
those teams because
yeah.
it's good. But I had a chance to watch Bayern, Lazio against Bayern. Man, I was really shocked with Byron. Like I heard from my friends, their Bayern friends, then through the media that Tuchel's not doing a good job. I used to like Tuchel. It's true back in the day that people know me. I wanted Tuchel at Juventus, but
Yeah.
since that win at Champions League, and then after that, let's say that one kind of good year with Chelsea, he just dropped because he does have the players. I'm pretty shocked that but that's what happens. A manager can do so much, but if you don't put them in the right position, then he's really tough. I heard like he wants to stubborn.
Yes.
But Lazio, I was pretty impressed. Like they didn't attack that much, but they controlled the game. Good defense. They have the opportunity to score, which was a PK. And yeah, uh, let's see what happens. But maybe Lazio can go through. What are your thoughts, Richard?
It's still difficult. Shocking
Yeah.
result and a great result, I think, for City. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think
Yes.
anybody, including Laziale, expected that to happen yesterday. Um, on my German podcast, we joked when Tuchel got hired that maybe he's such a big Dortmund fan. Tuchel is that maybe he's going to try to destroy Bayern by himself without telling anybody,
Oh,
as a
maybe.
joke. No, he is a hard manager, and his style of managing doesn't always suit well. We saw that with Carlo Ancelotti at Bayern Munich. Didn't work out, right? Pep Guardiola did well, obviously, but they needed when you have the egos that they have at Hollywood FC, which is Bayern. It's hard to control that. And you have someone like Tuchel, it rubs people the wrong way. I've never seen Thomas Muller so upset than he has been under Thomas Tuchel. So yeah, it's been shocking to see, and obviously Bayern lost in the weekend to Bayer Leverkusen in a big, championship 6 pointer, and they lost 3-0. And so I thought they would be angry because of that, come out against Lazio and win the game. And what we saw is Guendouzi had a fantastic game, Isaacson had a great game, Luis Alberto had a great game, Provedel played well. Provedel's played poor this season, but in the game he was good. And so they came up big when they had to at home. The crowd was fantastic. I think Sadi knows how to play in Europe. And what they did is they did a perfect game, the Italian job against Bayern Munich. Had
Yeah.
no answer for them. Musiala is going to have his chances, obviously, but when they go back to Bayern, it's a more difficult task because they're at home. Obviously, the crowd is big there. They're gonna have to do it again. Can they do it? Yeah, anything is possible. It's football. But I'm happy to
Yeah.
see that I was wrong about Lazio and that I'm glad that they won.
Well, same with me. I said on my video yesterday. I said on my predictions of the serie of the Champions League that Lazio was going to get knocked off.
Yeah.
But once again, Lazio in this Champions League they kind of surprised us. So I wouldn't be surprised it could be a 1-0 in home. And Anthony saying Lazio did an incredible job defensively and
I didn't even
taking
know Harry
Kane
Kane
out of the
played.
match.
Harry Kane just pocketed completely, which is a fantastic job by Lazio.
Kiro go home. He's not a Immobile fan. Then we have Raf. Congratulations. He's a big Lazio fan.
Yeah,
Lazio played yesterday and
absolutely
deserved
deserved.
win. Absolutely. I said on my
Absolutely.
video, I say what it is. Reno and Richard, what you thinking about Zaniolo or Nyoto? I don't know. I don't know. What are your
Gnonto
thoughts,
needs to come to
Richard?
Serie A. He needs to come to a good Serie A team, I think. I like
Yeah.
Gnonto. Zaniolo, he's like
I,
another Chiesa. I don't know if he.
yeah, well, Pazzo, he's more crazy than Keys
Well,
with
yes,
the
yes.
bets and the women.
Yeah, for sure. I like both the players. I like Zaniolo. I like Chiesa. I like Gnonto as well. But I think Zaniolo, he is a player who has flashes of brilliance. He has great pace and great shot, but he goes missing for a long time times a game. He went to into England. Hopefully, he would change his mindset with a new career. But obviously, with the betting thing going on too, it kind of
Oh,
messed him up also. Um,
yeah.
maybe he needs to go to like a mid tier team. If Sassuolo stays up, that's a good place, or a Bologna or a Atalanta. Maybe try to resurrect his career, but I don't think he has a place unless he's a substitute in a big team. I'd rather have Gnonto on the team because I think he has pace, he's strong, he has good vision, and has a nose for the goal. I would love to see Gnonto at one of the big three in Serie A. Honestly, I would, or even at Atalanta. He could probably do some magic at Atalanta with De
Yeah,
Catalare and
like the
everybody
Catalier.
else. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we'll finish off with the Europa League.
Mm.
Guys, put more likes. I only have 7 likes. Ma che cazzo state facendo? Please put.
Non lo so, non lo so.
No, no, so I don't know. No, 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 no idea what these guys doing. But put the subscription, my channel, of course, Serie A Sit Down. Then, you guys, if you have questions, leave the questions or anything you want. But I'm going to go through Europa League, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you Milanisti. We're going to start with Milan. I was the one that said in my mind today that Milan was going to lose, but surprisingly, was surprising.
You
I
always say
was
Milan's gonna
surprised that
lose.
Ren.
You always say Milan's gonna lose.
Yeah, I do. But like I said, Richard, with all love respect, my mom is a Milanista. I have nothing against Milan. But when you have a guy like Roberto that bugs you all the time, that's where I have the bad side of Milan. Like, I love Roberto. He's a buddy, which we're supposed to be hanging. He's been a good boy tonight. But this, yeah, but this Milan, Loftus Cheek, recently he's been impressing me even in Serie A. But today, he did those two beautiful goals. And Leao, of course, finally he scores because he hasn't been playing great in Serie A. So,
That's arguable, I would say.
yeah. But he got injured at the second half, correct?
Yeah, I believe he did. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing serious for the next year. I know you have Mozza, but you never know with these small
No.
teams,
Yeah.
especially with Mozza.
Yeah. No,
Well,
it was a great performance. I thought. Surprising. I thought they would. I predicted they would win 2-1 because they always seem in these games. Well, they score early, give up a goal when they shouldn't, and like let a team back into the game, make it 1-1, and then find a way to win at the end. I thought they were gonna win, but I just thought it would be more difficult than they had to be. And I mean, they blew them away in the first hour of the game. 3 goals. They could have easily won by a lot more. Um, yeah, Leao did finally score, which is great to see. I understand people saying that Leao's having a down year, and it looks like if you're looking from the goal scoring department, but he's still getting assists. He's still creating opportunities. He's just getting a lot of attention when other players are stepping up, like Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Christian Pulisic is having a great year.
oh,
Pretty much every signing that Milan made during the summer, outside of Chukwueze, is having a really good year this year. And you could tell from the beginning that Reinders and Ruben Loftus-Cheek was going to change this midfield. Ruben Loftus-Cheek loves to come forward, try to score goals, take shots. And Reinders is like a general in that midfield, which is great to see, especially with Benacer out injured or he's out of AFCON sometimes. You never know with Benacer what's going to have. So having Reinders in there, that steady force, this team has just been fun to watch. And then tonight, what we saw is a culmination of everything, where everything went well, and they just looked fantastic, right?
yeah.
Even 97-year-old Olivier Giroud, he looked really good in this game. But full credit to Pioli for pushing the right buttons, whatever he did, because I was not expecting Milan to look this good so
Yeah,
easy against
same.
Rennes. Stade Rennais, Rennes is a tough team. They were in good form, right? It's gonna be difficult going there, but now 3-0 lead going there, it's game set match in my opinion. Anything can happen,
No, that's what I think.
but
I don't think they're going to lose 4-0 after today's game.
I mean,
So,
I still, as a Milanista, I still have memories of that Arsenal game where we were up 3-0. They came back and won. So I
Oh,
still have it in the
okay.
back of my head,
Yeah, I
but
feel you with my
Stad,
Juventus. I
but
always get scared.
Ren is not Arsenal from back then, So
So we have question, Anthony, Richard. Do you think that that this performance today, that this Milan team is winning this Europa
yes,
League trophy?
yes, yes. Is it going to be easy? No, and it's easier than Champions League. But Bayer
Yes.
Leverkusen is really good. You have Liverpool's in there. I mean, whatever other English team's going to be in there. You're going to have obviously Roma's in there. Looking at some of the teams that played today, Benfica is always a dangerous team.
Yeah.
Um, Marseille, depending how far they get, Galatasaray, they have some good moments. With
Ajax, I
Icardi,
think.
Ajax. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
good
tough
teams.
too.
It's still a difficult tournament, and I think that the top two teams to worry about obviously are going to be Bayer Leverkusen with Xabi Alonso and Liverpool. So we'll see, but they
Yeah,
look like they want it.
yeah, that's me, Anthony. We go back and forth on the comments because he thinks about they might win the Europa League. But I said, you never know. We made it to the semi-final. Last year, Roma made it through the final. So maybe Milan, they might make the final. Then who knows? If it's either Liverpool, these top teams, they might be having injuries. And yeah,
A lot can change in a couple months. So
Leao is overrated. No, this is Severino. Not a lot of Leao fans, my friend.
that's fine with me. He can say it Milan. That's
Oh,
fine with me.
no green to no fire. Well, the talks
He
were
has that
saying he
special
might go.
sauce though. He has that special sauce and the skills that not many people have. So
No, like I said, even on my videos, I wasn't happy with Leao.
yeah,
They're saying they might sell him, but don't you think he's going to get sold, Leao, in the summer?
depends how
You
much.
never know.
I think if it's a lot of money, it's going to be hard to say no. But I
Yeah,
wouldn't sell him. I wouldn't sell him.
yeah. You won't say. Well, I respect your decision, everybody. So Anthony, obviously Liverpool and Leverkusen are not easy, but I think the
Yeah,
players are up to the challenge. Yeah, as long as you are healthy, like I just said, you're good to go, my friend.
yeah,
So don't mind me when I say you guys are not winning the.
no, it's fine.
No, I
I'm
say
used
to
to a
Anthony,
few.
I like to push his button, but in a good way, all in fun. So final, at least for the Europa League, Roma, Feyenoord, 1-1. Last goal from Mr. Lukaku. Roma, like I said before, against Inter, they're kind of at this moment surprising me with De Rossi. Like, I don't want to jinx it because he just started. Hopefully, he can bring the Testarossa.
Yeah,
Because so Feyenoord, it's always a dangerous team. I know they beat them last year with Mourinho. So if De Rossi can beat Feyenoord, that's good for him, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I think
What do you
it's
think?
for me the big difference. Obviously, we saw how De Rossi and Roma looked against Inter. I was impressed. They lost, but they had two goals against them. They looked pretty good. I think against Inter, considering who the opponent was, and so I was impressed. And for me, going into this game against Feyenoord, that's the big key because Mourinho, he's 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 like a king in European play. He knows how to set up his team and how his team always plays for him in Europe, and they always succeed. And De Rossi doesn't have that. He's inexperienced when it comes to that. So how he would do, and I think I said it on our pod with Gianni last night,
Hmm.
how that if he gets a draw in this game or even wins, that's a miracle. That's a great result. Because Feyenoord is a difficult team, especially in Netherlands. You saw in this game first half they were coming in wave after wave after wave, and Svilar played really well. I think Svilar should start over Rui Patricio going forward because Rui Patricio is just terrible. But I think they're playing for De Rossi, and I thought he did very well in this game. It's a difficult game to go to the Netherlands and try to get a result. They did. Now go home. You're gonna have a fantastic crowd behind you singing Roma, Roma, Roma. They have a good chance of beating Feyenoord now, and this would be a sensational result for De Rossi because that's the big thing. We know Serie A, he knows Serie A, but European action as a manager is much different, right? There's
Yeah.
only a few managers. Yes, we know Allegri is good in good in Europe. Inzaghi, Pioli, Sarri, these guys are Mourinho. They're all good in Europe. When you're unproven, you don't know what to expect until you face it. And I think he did a
Yes.
marvelous job to set up his team. They weren't always dominant or in possession or whatever, but they got the result. That's all that matters in Europe. Ask Mourinho, right?
Yeah. Pretty good. We'll see what happens. I hope they pull it through, but You never know what's going to happen. Just want to give a shout to Pablo Juve. He has a YouTube channel, Paisano.
Yeah, I
Buonasera.
know him.
Then, oh, you know him.
I do.
Sir, the bust your bubbles, Richard Severino. Milan shouldn't even be playing in Europe. They finished fifth. Well,
Let's bring up
it's
the
not our fault.
let's bring up the standings from last year. Let's see. I don't see them finishing fifth.
I know. Hey,
Sorry,
I
I do.
thought the same thing with Milan, but
No,
we'll see.
yeah, no, I understand where we're coming from. Obviously, Juventus did really well last year, minus the
Yeah, then
problems.
thanks to FGG,
Yeah.
it was a shit show. We all know that.
Mhm.
Great shout out to Antonio. So, Richard, I know you're kind of close on time. You want to cover up with a little prediction, or we'll do
Sure.
it
Well, let's do
next time?
predictions. Let's do it.
Okay, we'll do a little prediction,
Okay.
guys. Guys, put the likes and subscribe, per favor. Tonight it was a cultural talk because I usually do it on Monday, but tonight, it was a good chance. And thanks for coming, Richard, because I've been talking about Juventus way too much. I like to talk about culture as well. So, so start off. Let's do the top four for this
Okay.
week. Make it simple. So let's go. Oh, Inter Salernitana. Someone told me last week that that Roma and Salerno will beat Inter. Well, he got it wrong because Inter beat Roma. Now, I still believe that Inter will smash Salernitana, let's say 3-0.
4-0 for Inter.
For nothing? For Inter, yes. Yeah, same, Inter. Two
Yeah.
goal Turam and Lautaro, let's say.
Yeah.
Then we have Napoli Genoa. I'll
Ooh.
give credit to Napoli. I think they can manage to win this game.
1-1.
That 1-1, I say 1-0
1-1.
for Napoli.
Yeah, I say a draw.
Anthony says Inter 5. Salernitana said, well, last year they beat them 5-0. I remember it could
Yeah,
happen again.
it
I
could.
say 3, but
Okay.
if it's a 5, it won't surprise me. Then we have, oh boy, Verona Juventus. I don't know, man. 2-2 for Anthony.
At Verona
I'm
too.
all for a win because they got to win this game because if we lose against Verona, then it's not going to look pretty for us. I give, last time I said 1-0. I'm going to say 2-0 because they got to put the grinta. What do you think, Juventus?
Yeah, I like your 2-0. It's not gonna look pretty, but I think 2-0 is a good result. I think they can beat
For
Hellas
Juventus.
before Juventus. Yes.
Okay, let's keep it that way.
Hmm.
Then, for the latest, yeah, for the latest, let's keep Monza and Milan. I'll say 1-0 for Milan.
Ooh, I'm gonna say 2-1 Milan. I think it's
The
more
one?
difficult than it should be. More difficult than it should be.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because
Monza always
Monza,
play
they
Milan
haven't been
well.
playing well.
Yeah, they lose to Milan every time it seems like, but they always make it difficult. And Milan doesn't play well against teams that are inferior to them. So it's gonna be closer than it needs to be. Milan's gonna win late.
Milan's going to win.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think we'll wrap it up. I just try to do the top 4, or
How
I'm
about
missing
Bologna Lazio?
something.
How about Bologna Lazio?
Bologna Lazio. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, I missed that one.
that's okay.
Bologna, Lazio, Bologna. It's going to play in Lazio.
Yeah.
I'll give Bologna 2-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think this can be a trap game for Lazio. They had a fantastic game against Bayern, and it's
yeah.
hard to keep that high for consecutive games. I want to say 1-1, but I'm gonna go 2-1 Bologna.
2-1 Bologna. Okay,
Yeah.
I say 2-0. But
Yeah.
2-1, it could happen.
Yeah, this game has trap game written all over it for me.
Nice. Okay, I think that will wrap up. I would like to say thank you to everyone, especially Nicolas dall'Italia, grazie tanto,
Hmm.
Pablo, Surprises, Severino, Anthony, Adam, Roberto, tutti quanti. Please put these likes. If you enjoy, share, subscribe to my channel. Of course, Mr. Richard from Serie. Sit down, thanks again. I hope to have Frank. Maybe I should text him,
There you
have
go.
him. Yeah, because I know he's busy, or whenever you guys want me on your show.
Absolutely.
So till then, Forza Juve. You say yourself you're a Milanista. Okay, I can't see it, but you can see it. Forza Italia and viva il calcio, ragazzi. Till then, ciao ciao e arrivederci.